Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Teri Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about the new moon solar eclipse happening on April 8th, 2024 at 11:20 a.m. Pacific time. This video is going to be based on whole sign Western astrology as indicated by this particular chart. I do think it's significant for you to check your personal natal chart and find out exactly where the Aries energy is, where the Taurus energy is, where the Libra energy is, and where your Pisces energy is, as these are the significant landscapes that the planets are moving through right now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to first talk a little bit about the dynamics of an eclipse, because normally the moon cycle each month, we see a new moon that precedes a full moon. And since about December 2022, we have been seeing the opposite cycle, where we're seeing a full moon, which represents an illumination, an epiphany, things coming into the light so that we can assess our next step, assess the situation, information can come through, and then we plant the seeds in the new moon for a new beginning, where traditionally we're planting the seeds in the dark and then the full moon illuminates something. So we're getting, I believe, a leg up having the full moon preceding the new moon in this period of time that's so significant, as we see planets like Pluto traversing the beginning of Aquarius and will ultimately retrograde back into Capricorn later this year. But anyway, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to talk about the significance of this eclipse, an eclipse in general. And I'm going to talk a little bit about how the previous eclipse we had a couple weeks ago on March 25th very much is working in tandem with this eclipse. So let's start here by looking. Here we see that the new moon, the moon and the sun have come together. A new moon is where we are planting the seeds of a new beginning, a new dynamic of some kind, a new chapter, a new awareness. And it is done in the darkest phase of the moon that requires faith. It requires much an ability to feel the intention and the outcome you want versus being able to see it with your human eyes. This is happening in the sign of self, Aries, the sign that traditionally is called the warrior. It is the first sign that the soul experiences when it enters the human body. So for me, this very much resonates with the energy of the Fool card. I know other people think the Fool is Uranus, but on my channel, I'm turning things up a little bit, because here we're having an adventure of the self. We're planting the seeds for the self to come into harmony and into balance. The 19th degree is the Libra degree. And we see here this opposition to the South Node. We're going to dig a little deeper into that. But this is very significant because we often think of Libra as partnership, as commingling our energy with another, cooperation, fostering a sense of peace and diplomacy, which is all very true. But being able to do that with any sort of efficiency requires a strong sense of yourself within the partnership. I often refer to that as two me's making a we. So here we are, we're planting the seeds after we've had an awareness that came in the lunar eclipse on March 25th in the sign of Libra. And I'm going to pull up that chart in a minute. But before I do, I want to bring up that this new moon is being planted in the darkness right near the North Node, or what we call Rahu. It's the point, the nodes are the moon's nodes. They're an emotional dynamic representing the soul's desire and what the soul's habits are. So here, this desire is for a new landscape, to express oneself, to have adventures, to find out who and what I am and what can I create. And the habit is to maybe defer myself in cooperation and partnerships or for the greater good. It really depends on the situation for you, but it would be a Libra energy. It could be in a professional partnership. It could be sacrificing myself as a police officer for the greater good of my community. It could be, obviously a marriage partnership. So there's dimensions to the Libra energy. So there is some planting of the seeds that is in direct relation to how do I want to express myself. Now, I'm sure you've all been noticing that Chiron is sitting right here at 19 degrees. These are exact 24 minutes, 24 minutes, 24 minutes. This is huge. The subtle significances of this, I can't even begin to tell you how excited it makes me. So here, Chiron represents the wound and the gift. It's a double-edged sword. It is the legend of the centaur who is wounded from birth, abandoned and rejected, and yet he becomes a great healer and a great wise one, and he is revered. Now we see this degree of cooperation and balance and harmony in the sign of self. It's an understanding and allowing of the self. Now we take these subtle nuances of the 24 minutes, all three of them. That is the Piscean energy, the spiritual energy, the ancestral energy of your soul's imprint. And all of this is happening in an opposition to this very, in some ways, Libra is very human, because Libra is represented by the scales. The scales are metallic. And so while they have no emotion, Libra is very human in the sense that it is deferring to the human structure and looking for balance from that, the scales of justice. And here, the new moon, it may appear that when we're birthing ourselves, that this is not an act that is in cooperation with others. But the truth of the matter is the health of our relationship with ourself very much determines the health of our relationship with others. Now, here's another subtle nuance. We have Mercury retrograde at 24 degrees. Now it's up against this point, Eris. Eris is Mars's little sister. She is very much stands up for what she believes in. She stands up for herself and the underdog. Here we have Mercury retrograde reviewing, how do I stand up for myself? And we see this 47 minutes. The 4-7 reduces down to an 11. And at the time of this new moon solar eclipse, Taurus, I'm sorry, I don't want to say Taurus. I want to say the 47 reduces down to an 11, which is the Aries, the first house, this awareness of how I think, this awareness of, am I creating a sense of harmony and peace and expressing myself and my individuality so that my relationships will thrive rather than me losing myself to a relationship. Now, we also see at this time that there is between the South Node and Saturn and Mars, it's called a quincunx. It's like what I consider a blind spot. It's where the 2 points don't really see each other. And even if they have the same point of view, they can't communicate it in a way where the other two don't understand. So here we see this conjunction between Mars, the ruler of this new moon solar eclipse, Saturn, my history, where I've been in the sign of history, ancestral history, soul's history. It's in a blind spot to where I have been. So there is a part of you that could potentially, as you go through this new moon solar eclipse, have have no awareness of how you have given up yourself in cooperation for others. You may think that your dreams are your dreams, or that you want something, and maybe on some level you do, but at the same time, it could be like wanting something where in cooperation with others and you're all on the same highway, but you want to be in the fast lane and they want to be in the slow lane meandering, and you defer to their slow lane, and in the meantime giving up where you want to go. Now I say that because, and I'm just going to click on Venus right now. Venus is in Aries, where she's considered in detriment. Venus rules the sign of Libra, which we saw over here, right? And Libra is the degree of the new moon. She is in a sextile to Pluto in Aquarius, making a favorable aspect for independence, revolution, and awareness of a deeper psychology that's held me back. Here's the Mars degree. It's an opportunity to really look deeply at how I take care of myself. We see Venus has been in this very strong conversation with her best friend Neptune about the spiritual nature of her individuality, of her birthing herself. This time, as she's entered Aries, she's adopting a 2024 version of what a female is, and starting to rewrite the version of herself. Normally, I think Venus has been in detriment because not only is she in the furthest sign from her rulership, but that's not really true, because Taurus, she also rules. But it's behind the Taurus of self. So Taurus doesn't see Venus over here. I hope I didn't lose you there. I'm going to click back because this sense of self, sense of receptivity from spirit about birthing a new version of myself that is much more aligned to what brings peace and harmony for the self, that then gets to contribute to the collective. Right here, we see this potential of contributing to the collective just by your breathing. And this summit between Mars and Saturn is very important because this feels very spiritual. It feels very much like Mars has been through a metamorphosis and understands that always being assertive and aggressive doesn't get anywhere. So he's learned how to be the peaceful warrior under the mentorship of Saturn, who has not used history to throw up in Mars's face, but rather as Saturn has exalted Mars in its home of Capricorn, it says, "You are my brother, you are my knight, you are the part of the Knights of the Round Table" in Pisces. And here we're moving forward in a way that we allow history to make us brave as we move forward in being individualistic, what we want, even though it may conflict with what other people expect, want, and desire from us. Now, let me just real quickly jump back to this Mercury idea, because Mercury, while this new moon solar eclipse, and I was remiss for not mentioning this earlier, eclipses bring in fated opportunities. Oftentimes those look like events, things that happen outside of ourselves, but they present an opportunity for us to make a choice in the way we perceive it, the way we respond to it, the way we take action upon it. So if for some reason in Mercury's retrograde, there is a wound that is spiked during this period of time, because Mercury's going to retrograde all the way till the 25th and meet with the North Node. Obviously, these 2 points will long be gone, but then it will move forward again and head towards Chiron once again. And this is where we can really start to extract the reward. And that reward is the co-creation of our challenges, how they inspire and compel us in either to be defeated or to stretch up and stretch for what is truly authentic to our deepest heart. And that's the conversation that Venus has been having, as she herself in this conversation is planting the seeds to represent the feminine receptive energy, not the gender of the woman. As she steps into the Aries energy, she's not androgynous by any means, but she's in an awareness. And this awareness of who she is on a spiritual level. I am an energy, I am a light, I am a being beyond this vessel known as my human body. And that's what Aries represents, the experience of the soul going into the human body and stretching itself. That's why we see athletes and adrenaline junkies here, and people who are heroes who go into, almost, their experiences. I don't want to use war because that's so often referred, but their experiences that require our instinct. And when we are standing as a peaceful warrior, as Saturn and Mars are offering at this time, even if you can't see it right now, this transformation, this sextile to Pluto is powerful and long lasting. So I think it's going to be really a period of time that comes first through illumination and then inspiration and then action. And that will be further evidenced as we look at Jupiter and Uranus coming closer and closer together. And here they are a whisper away from one another, expanding unexpectedly so many things, liberating me from old beliefs. It's just very, very powerful time. Now, let me real quickly bring back the chart of, here it is. This is the chart of the full moon lunar eclipse that happened on March 25th at 12 a.m. in Los Angeles. I bring this up because the moon was the supergalactic center, which is a center that is focused on the theme of relationships. Those relationships, again, are only as healthy as the relationship you have with yourself, because everybody on the planet is a soul that is, inhabiting a very dense shell and really can't carry anyone else. It's not really a feasible, it's not a feasible way of being in partnership. So here, I believe that what we're seeing is this full moon illuminated in some way the sense of self. Where am I? Am I standing for myself? And this is, I'm not saying this in a fighter's way. I'm like, this feels like it's more about digging deeper into what is my truth. I'll give you a quick example. For a long time, I thought I wanted money. And as I have aged, I realized it's not money I want, it's time and freedom and flow, and not being trapped in, I can't do this because I don't have that. So, and we see during that full moon eclipse, we see Venus having a very strong, and has had a very strong conversation with Saturn about putting structure into my own creativity, my own sense of self, my own using my skills, my talents, my ability to be creative, my ability to empathize. And am I empathizing with self as I move forward, and recognize that the health of myself is the health of my relationships. We also see that at the time of that full moon eclipse, Mercury was moving forward, and Mercury had conversations with both the North Node and with Chiron. And to me, this is very much about wanting to recognize that, the recognition of the self is actually not selfish. And most humans will say it is. But the recognition of self is really the ability to identify that if I'm being selfish, then there must be something about me that puts my own agenda as a priority versus the person or the situation that is calling me selfish, because I won't put their agenda at a priority. So I think something was very much being illuminated here in the sign of partnership, in the sign of cooperation and peace and harmony, about how I express myself. The 5th degree is the Leo degree. And while this, I don't think this 10 degrees is very significant as far as a conjunction goes, it feels more significant that this moon is on the supergalactic center at 2 degrees, 22 minutes of Libra, really illuminating that, relationship with self. And that is what is taking us into the next moon cycle, which is giving us an opportunity to plant the seeds here. So check out where your Pisces energy is, because this is where we're going to see your bravery here, your ability to incorporate your history, and rather than hang on your history and let it tank you. This is sort of about being brave, that it's a launching pad. It's part of the balance and the contrast that defines you, how you want to move forward, what is important and what is not. One other thing I did not mention, and it just hit me, is that at the same time that we have the new moon at 19 degrees, 24 minutes, and the sun and Chiron, we also have, here is Jupiter over here in Taurus at 19 degrees and 2 minutes. And I think that's significant only because the 2 represents the Venusian energy, the energy of my talents, my skills, my ability to speak my voice and use my history for my benefit versus pulling me under. Because here we're going to see an opportunity to expand in business, to expand in our reach, to expand our beliefs and philosophies, to even expand the way we write, the way we express ourselves. When we look at Jupiter, we're looking at business, commerce, we're looking at publishing, marketing, influencing. We're looking at the judicial system. We could see some really crazy stuff happening out in the world, but I'm not going to go out into the world. I'm just going to stay in my lane. And as we as individuals lighting up using this Venus and Neptune energy, sextiling Pluto, and this Neptune and Pluto sextile is going to continue on for a while. So this is really an opportunity to transform through my spiritual studies, my ability to connect to a deeper part of myself, recognizing the human is walking a path, but the spirit is what goes on and is expressed through the human vessel. All right, that's it for me for this lunar eclipse. Very powerful, setting your intentions and allowing yourself to dream beyond your eyes, beyond your ears, beyond your experience, and honoring the oneness within that loves to enjoy the finer things, to that loves to enjoy good food and lovely art and beautiful pillows and a comfortable experience. I think that's another theme to this eclipse, planting the seeds for whatever makes your life worth living, and being brave enough to do it beyond the wounds you have experienced in this life already. Because as you work in cooperation, they may transform you in ways you could never have expected, both materially, spiritually, psychologically, physically. Oh, it's just amazing. All right, everybody, that's it for me, Teri Hunter. If you'd like to book an astrology reading with me, I am available. My information is below in the description. Just reach out and I'll send you all the options. I get to work on updating my website. It's a little Saturnian, as you might say. All right, everybody, enjoy this eclipse, set your intentions, and watch your power grow. See you soon.